why President Trump was the most dangerous person in human history. Pretty obvious. We are facing an incredible crisis. We are destroying the environment that sustains life. You know that there are plenty of signs of it where you are, but it's basically beyond question. President Trump was committed to accelerating the race to destruction. He was committed to expanding without limit the use of the most dangerous fossil fuels and eliminating the regulatory apparatus, which to some extent mitigated the crisis. I mean, pulling out of the Paris Agreement was just a symbolic example. There can't be anything more dangerous than that. I mean, Hitler was an utter monster, but he wasn't trying to destroy the whole human species. Of course, I don't say that Trump is trying to do this. He probably doesn't care. He just cares about increasing the profits of the constituency that he slavishly serves, corporate sector, ultra rich, and so on. If this increases their profits, who cares if the world goes down the tube? Other approaches are to follow the recommendations of the IPCC, many detailed plans that have been developed, which show that we can, in fact, address the crisis of heating the climate, frying the world, with quite feasible measures that would, in fact, mean a fraction of the expenditures that are used to bail out the rich corporations from what they lose during the COVID crisis, 2 or 3% of GDP. It's all available. There are detailed plans. Now, in fact, we're going backwards. One of the major horrible consequences of Putin's invasion of Ukraine was that the much too limited efforts to deal with this existential crisis have been set into reverse. So, for example, take the United States, most important country, obviously. One day, the IPCC issues another dire warning that we must begin to reduce fossil fuels right now, no delay, certain percentage every year till we phase them out in a few decades. That's one day. The next day, President Biden announces vast new areas of federal lands being handed over to energy corporations to exploit for oil. Notice that this is pure political theater. Has absolutely nothing to do with the problems of supplying fuel, has nothing to do with inflation, nothing. These poisons will not even come into line for several years. This is political theater, which has the effect of moving towards destruction of the conditions for organized human life. And what is missing is, okay, instead of moving on to destroy the environment more quickly for political gain, let's use the time available to move rapidly towards renewable energy in ways that are quite feasible and save ourselves and future generations. But that's not considered. There are plenty of people, mostly young people, who are working energetically and actively to try to prevent this disaster from happening. With enough support, they can succeed. They're not getting the support when Greta Thunberg stands up at the Davos meeting and tells the millionaires there that you have betrayed us. She's right. Yes, my generation, later generations have betrayed the young. How do they react? Polite applause, patting her on the head and saying, nice little girl, why don't you go back to school? That's our leadership. In fact, sometimes it gets so grotesque, you can almost only laugh. You may have followed this about a week or two ago. One of the chief investment officials of one of the top investment firms gave a speech to investors in which he said, you don't have to worry about all this liberal nonsense about global warming. We're investors, we're realistic. We look a couple of years ahead, and investing in fossil fuels is very good business for the next couple of weeks ahead. So forget all these tree huggers and crazy liberals and just invest in fossil fuels. Well, he received some criticism for that. But then the editors of the Wall Street Journal plunged in, leading business journal in the United States, and said, he is absolutely correct. All these people are criticizing him don't understand anything. They don't believe in the market. And the market is telling us we should destroy the world as quickly as possible. So if you don't believe in the market, you're some kind of communist sympathizer. So of course he's right. That's what we're hearing. If you think this is a parody, I urge you to read it. It's not a parody. This is what we're hearing at the highest level of business and policy formation. Right now, the meetings are going on in Davos, maybe the last couple of days. And there's a pretty good review of it by Rana Foroohar, editor of the Financial Times. It just makes fun of the vaporizing, all kind of nice talk about responsible investing. And then you go off to your jet planes, your fancy parties, and forget it all because you don't intend to do anything. Well, that's our leadership.
Actually address some of these concerns.
Well, take the latest meeting on climate change, Glasgow. There were actually two meetings going on. Only one got a lot of reporting. One was inside the stately halls where the rich and powerful were congratulating one another on the wonderful things they're going to do. Then there was another outside in the streets where tens of thousands of young people were demonstrating, pleading with the people who hold the masters of the world, pleading with them to do something instead of empty talk. That's the important meeting. In fact, if you look into it, it was interesting to see what happened. The American representative, John Kerry, was euphoric. He said, we've won. We have the market on our side. The big investors have promised that they hold, $100 trillion of investments, and they're going to use them to deal with the climate crisis. So we've won. It's finished. There was a piece, an article by one of the top political economists, Adam Tooze, in which he went through this. And he said, yes, it's true. Larry Fink of BlackRock, big investor, informed the meeting that the investor community with whatever it is, $130 trillion, is now planning to devote themselves to dealing with climate change. But there was a footnote. The footnote is, we will invest as long as it is profitable. And if an investment doesn't work out, we insist that the International Monetary Fund bail us out. So we'll be happy to help if we can make money. And if something goes wrong, you, the taxpayer, will pay us for it. That's the great gift that the investment community is offering the world. So we've won. The market's on our side. That's inside the halls. Outside the halls, young people could see exactly what this is, a way to kick the ball down the road so they can keep making exorbitant profits, and what happens to the world doesn't matter.